Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a close look at a really significant legal development in Singaporean politics. It's certainly got a lot of people talking. Our mission, as always, is to unpack the details surrounding this high-profile conviction, help you understand the key facts, the different layers, and what makes it particularly noteworthy. And just before we really get into it, if you find this useful, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps others find our deep dives too.
Absolutely. We're delving into quite a complex case here, one that has real implications for parliamentary integrity and I think the fundamental importance of truthfulness in public office. So we'll try to connect the dots for you, explore not just what happened, but maybe why this whole situation matters so much in the broader Singapore context.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our focus today is the Workers' Party chief, Pritam Singh. He was recently convicted of lying to Parliament. And this isn't just, some minor issue. It feels like a landmark event. So let's dive straight into the core of it. What exactly was Mr. Singh convicted of? And why is everyone calling this such a landmark event?
Right. So Pritam Singh was found guilty on 2 counts of lying under oath. This was specifically to a parliamentary committee, the Committee of Privileges. Now, the key thing here to grasp the seriousness is that lying under oath in that setting, it carries the same legal weight as perjury in a court. It's treated as a criminal offense, not just, say, a political mistake. And what makes it truly stand out, why it's so significant, is that he's actually the first sitting opposition member of parliament to face a criminal conviction in almost 40 years.
40 years, wow.
Exactly. That fact alone really underscores the rarity, the historical gravity of this situation in Singapore's politics. It sends a strong message about upholding parliamentary integrity.
That 40-year detail really does put it in perspective. Okay, so he was found guilty. What was the actual outcome? What was the sentence?
Well, for each of those 2 charges, he received the maximum fine allowed, which is $7,000. So that totals $14,000. And the judge, Deputy Principal District Judge Luke Tan, was very clear in his judgment. He stated this decision sends an unequivocal message about how crucial it is to provide truthful information when you're under affirmation or oath. Especially within official parliamentary proceedings, it's all about maintaining the integrity of that whole legislative process, ensuring it operates on truth.
Okay, so the verdict's in, the fine's been issued. What's next for Mr. Singh? Is that the end of the legal road for him on this, or is there more to come?
Oh, it's definitely not over yet. The legal process is still very much unfolding. His legal team has already confirmed they will be appealing. They're appealing against both the conviction itself and the sentence. His lawyer, Mr. Andre Jumapoy, mentioned the appeal hearing is set for November 4th.
Right.
So yes, while a judgment has been made at this level, the final word really depends on what happens with that appeal. The whole legal saga continues, basically. Lots of eyes will be on that.
Okay, so appeal pending. Now, to really get the full picture of this conviction, we probably need to go back a bit, right? This didn't just spring out of nowhere. It's connected to events involving former Workers' Party MP Raisa Khan.
That's exactly right. You have to trace it back. The root of this specific case against Mr. Singh goes back to Ms. Raisa Khan. So on August 3rd, 2021, during a parliamentary debate, I think it was on empowering women, Mrs. Khan made a false claim. She claimed she had accompanied a sexual assault victim to a police station and alleged that officers there made insensitive remarks. This claim turned out to be untrue.
And she repeated it, didn't she?
She did. That's a key point. She repeated that same false claim in the House again on October 4th that year. Repeating it, knowing it was false, obviously compounded the initial deception within Parliament.
So where does Mr. Singh fit into this picture regarding her untruth? How did he become implicated? Was it just about knowing she'd lied, or was the allegation more direct?
Well, according to Judge Tan's judgment, the finding was that Mr. Singh willfully lied to the Committee of Privileges. And crucially, it was about how he dealt with Mr. Khan's untruth. So it wasn't just about whether he knew or not. The allegation, and what the court found, points towards an alleged active attempt to, let's say, manage or perhaps even cover up his own involvement regarding her false statements. The prosecution's case, effectively, was that he might have guided her, or at least didn't instruct her to correct the record promptly, which, if true, would be a serious breach of parliamentary conduct for a leader.
Right, suggesting a more direct role than just being aware.
Exactly. More direct involvement in, perhaps, obscuring the truth from Parliament.
Okay, that clarifies the link. It sounds like the trial itself must have been quite complex, quite intense, given who was involved and what was at stake. What were some of the key moments or arguments during those proceedings?
Well, it was definitely extensive. The trial lasted 13 full days, starting October 14th, 2024. And yes, you had several key figures taking the witness stand, which always adds layers of testimony, cross-examination, high stakes.
Mm.
You had Mr. Singh testifying himself, naturally. Ms. Khan was a crucial witness, obviously, given her original untruths started the whole thing. Then you also heard from former Workers' Party cadres, Lo Pei-ying and Yudhishthira. They provided perspectives, presumably on internal party discussions.
Mm-hmm.
And even the former party chief, Mr. Lo Tie-kyung, testified. His testimony likely shed light on leadership dynamics, maybe party culture around issues like this. Each person added pieces to the puzzle the court was trying to solve.
With all those witnesses, I imagine the defense and prosecution had very different stories to tell. What were their main lines of argument? How did they frame things?
Absolutely. Very distinct narratives. The defense strategy seemed largely focused on discrediting Ms. Khan. They worked hard to portray her as, quote, a habitual liar. The goal there, presumably, was if they could cast doubt on her credibility, it would weaken her account of Mr. Singh's involvement and therefore weaken the prosecution's case against him. On the other side, the prosecution, and this included the then Deputy Attorney General Ang Cheng-hock, a senior figure, argued very strongly that Mr. Singh had actively tried to cover up his involvement, unquote. Their contention was that he deliberately misled the Committee of Privileges, maybe to protect himself or the party. So it wasn't just about Mrs. Khan's lie anymore. It was about an alleged subsequent lie or a cover-up by the leadership.
So two very clashing narratives about accountability there.
Precisely. A direct conflict over who was responsible for what and when.
Which brings us to the current situation. It's quite extraordinary, really. What does all this actually mean for Mr. Singh's political standing right now? He's still the leader of the opposition, isn't he? How does that work with a conviction hanging over him, even with an appeal?
It is a very unusual, complex situation. And yes, despite this conviction, he did successfully retain his parliamentary seat in the last general election. He was leading the Workers' Party team in Anjani GRC, and they secured nearly 60% of the vote, 59.68%, I believe. They held on to their constituency quite strongly.
So clear voter support there, at least in Elginid.
It suggests at least a significant portion of voters there were willing to perhaps wait for the final legal outcome, or maybe separate the legal issue from his role as their MP. And what's also really interesting is that Prime Minister Lawrence Wong confirmed after the election that Mr. Singh will remain the leader of the opposition. He keeps the title, the staff, the resources that come with that role. So there seems to be a decision, at least for now, to allow the parliamentary process to continue somewhat separately from the ongoing legal one.
That is fascinating, a real separation there. So for our listeners, why should they really care about all these intricate details of a parliamentary conviction in Singapore? What's the bigger picture takeaway for them?
Well, I think this case really hits at the core of something fundamental. The importance of truth and accountability right at the heart of government, in Parliament itself. It sends a very, very clear signal about how seriously untruths spoken under affirmation or oath are taken, especially when they come from public figures, from elected officials. It's about the integrity of the institution. Parliamentary privilege allows for free and robust debate, yes, but this case underscores that privilege doesn't extend to misleading the House or fabricating information. And because the legal process is ongoing with the appeal, and Mr. Singh continues in his significant role as leader of the opposition, this whole issue remains incredibly relevant. It touches directly on public trust in institutions, public trust in leaders, and it will likely shape ongoing discussions about the standards expected at the highest levels of Singaporean politics.
It certainly feels like a case that will be discussed for a long time. What an insightful deep dive. We've covered the conviction itself, how it all started with the Raisa Khan situation, the trial arguments, and this really unique current political standing Mr. Singh finds himself in.
Indeed. And as we've discussed, the upcoming appeal is the next critical chapter in this story. It'll be fascinating to see how the higher courts interpret the evidence and the legal principles involved, particularly around parliamentary truthfulness.
Definitely one to watch. So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe something to leave our listeners thinking about. Regardless of how the appeal turns out, what lasting impact might this whole affair have? Could it subtly, or maybe not so subtly, shift the expected standards of truthfulness and accountability for all MPs, especially those in leadership roles?
Will it set a new benchmark, perhaps, or will the nuances lead to ongoing debate about where exactly the lines are drawn?
It's a really important question, I think, for anyone interested in governance and public trust.
Absolutely. Something for all of us to consider as we watch things unfold.
Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time. Keep digging for those insights.